I found myself in the video store late at night, combing through the VHS sections, as you could probably guess I do too often. And in between the likes of Faces and Traces of Death, I came across Banned from Television. Of course, the title immediately struck me. I have to know things I can't see. What's banned? What am I not allowed? I'm too curious for my own good. And what I did not expect to find was the origin story of the guy behind the most exploitative television movement of the early 2000s, and a pile of gore. This is about Banned from Television.
These are the most unbelievable real-life events ever caught on tape. All raw.
If you're new here, subscribe, but you may or may not know that during the 90s there was a plethora of shockumentaries made and sold to the public. Real human death compiled on video for you to watch at home for your own enjoyment. In particular, Banned from Television was made by Joe Francis, who at the time was a production assistant for the television show Real TV, which was an early clip compilation television program showing intense accidents, viral, just anything that was deemed kind of interesting moments, all compiled together, voiced over by a narrator. And while getting clips for the show Real TV, Joe was coming across a lot of clips that were too graphic, disturbing, or just intense and violent for them to put. So he came up with the bright idea to license all these and use these clips for his own compilation tapes, this time called Banned from Television, which is where the namesake comes from. It was the fact that these were too intense to be put onto the normal broadcast mainstream program he worked on. And he went with, frankly, what was the best route at the time for marketing scandalous or intense or extreme seedy materials, and that was late night infomercials.
Warning. This video contains the most shocking footage ever caught on tape. To order, you must be over 18. Call now.
And the corny marketing of these is exactly what works, and it's what even drew me in. It's this old school dick measuring contest of it's too extreme and it's too intense and you can't handle it, so you better not buy this. It's literally just reverse psychology ploy marketing into getting you to purchase it, and it worked on my dumbass. And frankly, it was a commercial success. Just like Faces of Death, they then spawned their own entire, essentially, franchise legacy of all these spin-offs and knockoff sagas that wanted to profit off the namesake of it. So with that, what exactly was Banned from Television? Let's start with the first tape, because we always start at the beginning. All three, though, were released in the same year of 1998, so they're all at least a year older than me. So what exactly is in here? Let's hear it from the back of the tape itself. Witness the most shocking real-life events ever caught on tape. The censors have banned these adrenaline-charged moments from television. But now, in this unbelievable video, you can see firsthand a public execution, a great white shark attack, a horrifying train accident, an explicit undercover video from a club bust. There are no actors and no scripts. Everything is raw and real and banned from television. It's so edgy, it fucking hurts. But again, I bought them and here we are. With that, it's all narrator-led, and it's similar to Faces of Death in that aspect, except for the fact we have no name of the narrator, no resignation. It is simply a man telling us about whatever scandalous or intense or brutal scene we are being completely thrown into, more similarly to the Real TV that Joe was working on at the time. And of course, the opening scene is immediately harrowing and horrible. It takes place in Brazil, where we see a standoff between a man and the police. But closer, we realize, and our narrator informs us, the man has taken an innocent baby as hostage with a weapon pointed towards the baby. This whole scene ends with the fact that the police are able to shoot the man and rescue the baby, who thankfully was unscathed. But this immediately sets the entire tone of what you are about to watch, and just quite how horrible it is. It's definitely more varied than your average gore mixtape compilation. It was just everything disgusting Joe could find, but it is absolutely just chocked full of human death and torture and suffering. One clip that's heavily used in the adverts was a man fleeing from the police in a pickup truck. The narrator implies to us that he stole a lawnmower, so the police are following him for this reason. During this chase, we see that the man in the pickup truck chose to run a red light to avoid the police, and a big rig slams into the truck, killing him instantly and just destroying the entire vehicle. As well, there's a lot of animal accident clips, if we can call them accidents. Particularly, there's this two-clip dichotomy where we see a bull just rip the pants off a guy, and it's this ha 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 comedic thing, and then right after that, we're thrown into a different clip of a different bull. This time kind of small enclosed space, and there's all these people poking it with sharp tools, harming it, agitating it, just genuinely abusing this animal for the bull to then be released and stampede through the road and mow down a man and a woman. No one died in this, but this woman gets absolutely just attacked by this animal who himself was just being absolutely attacked. But by far the hardest thing to watch, at least for me, and I hate being hierarchical with what's worse and this, that, the other, but it is a really horrible watch, is the incident that took place with the circus elephant Tyke in Honolulu. There's a quite well-known incident that took place in 1994 on August 20th. Tyke, a female circus elephant, attacked her trainer, Alan Campbell, killing him before attacking her groomer, Dallas Beckwith. Eventually, Tyke got onto the streets, running around for over half an hour, before 2 local policemen fired 86 shots, ultimately killing the elephant. This was the 3rd time Tyke had lashed out and or escaped injuring people. Tyke became a symbol of animal rights and the horror of animal captivity in the circus. In the rest of the tape, there are sprinkles of police brutality, gang violence, executions, a lot of people on fire. Like, a weird amount of a lot of people on fire. Particularly, there was a public execution in this of 2 men who I believe did do it, and they were convicted for kidnapping, murdering, and raping a girl. And for some reason, Pope John Paul II tried pardoning? Yeah, pardoning them. I don't know. Don't know what the hell that's about. As well, I can't, show you the middle picture just in case because we're on, but there's a hell of a lot of adult content on here that is more censored than the whoa. The adult content is way more censored than they advertise. They kind of do try to advertise this as also having that type of stuff in it. It's very sparing, but there's a lot of it in a weird way, but it's also still very censored. I don't know, really bizarre. Banned from Television 1 in particular ends with an absolutely horrifying clip of a woman, Mary, who is crossing a train track with her lawyer, who neither of the two at the time realize there is a train coming on the left. At the last second, Mary's lawyer notices and is able to stop, but unfortunately isn't able to stop Mary, and Mary does not see in time, and she is struck by the train, killing her instantly and throwing her right in the direction of the camera. Banned from Television just fades out. No end credits, no nothing. Just, that is how Banned from Television ends, and it unceremoniously is just as horrible as how it opens. Okay, so with that, let's go to the second one. Banned from Television 2's selling point, according to the back of this, seems to be the fact that it contains clips from the adult film of Tonya Harding and her husband. If you don't know who Tonya Harding is, lucky you. She was a pro figure skater who had a rivalry with another one named Nancy Kerrigan. Tonya and her husband, who is in this film with her, chose to hire someone to physically attack Nancy Kerrigan so she could not compete against Tonya Harding. Yeah, they're bad people. So a D-list celebrity adult tape leaked onto something. They were selling this like hotcakes. That is America's favorite thing to consume. The film once again opens up with a horrifically tension, dread-filled, high-stakes situation. This time, it is at a Bangkok stock market, and there's a man who has a weapon poised under his gun, seemingly just waiting for something to happen to pull the trigger. There are hostage negotiators, and we see clear as day, he successfully pulls the trigger. I will say, the narrator claims, and we'll get into the whole unreliable narrator thing later, but he says the man somehow survived this, and he got surgery to get the bullet removed from his throat. But it is immediately, once again, just throwing you into a pit of absolute disgust, depravity, and genuine human harm and or death on film. Which, let's just get ahead of it with this whole narration thing and the unreliability of him, because I know you're probably shocked to hear that the Banned from Television series wasn't 100% correct on relaying information to you. I know, that might sound crazy, that sleazy dude from the 90s lied to us a little bit. I know, it sounds so unfathomable, but just hold my hand for this. Just one instance is the video I mentioned about tape 1. The video about the man who got hit by the big rig after stealing a lawnmower. This same clip appeared in world's wildest police videos. They say in this instance, though, that the suspects were a teenage boy and a girl in the pickup truck. So who really knows what happened or who was in the vehicle or quite literally anything about it? That's also a big selling point of all of these videos. The world's craziest police chases banned from television. They all claim these were clips no one's seen before, when in all reality, they really weren't. These were clips that were all constantly passed around because most of these were from the news. They were major filmed events, and even most of them were just the last extra few seconds the news didn't show, and whatever ended up on that cutting room floor got licensed down, sold to whoever wanted it. And a big thing with all of these tapes is contradicting information on the fates of who's in them. At times, they won't even mention any details about the person, but you'll find a tape that says someone died and someone lived, and you'll find 5 with the same clip and completely different information. Banned from Television 3 has a clip of a guy on a motorcycle being crushed by a police cruiser, where they state explicitly he was fatally killed by this. But then when you go to, I'm gonna read it to you, World's Scariest Police Chases, you could shake some dice with some adjectives and make these compilation videos, I swear to God. But in this one, they say that the guys survive. So who even knows? Also, all of these titles just show you how true YouTube slop content, it's not just YouTube slop content. Slop content for consumption has been a day one thing. World's craziest, most disturbing, top 10, worst thing, America's, da-da-da. Like, this is truly just how humans consume content, and especially clip content, and especially extreme clip content. But back to tape 2, it also prides itself on the fact that we'll see firsthand an FBI drug bust gone wrong, and a vicious pit bull attack, which, the vicious pit bull attack is horrible. A guy is definitely just abusing a dog. They have a police officer in LA come out. She's called out to see about this dog who had previous attack reports on it. And the man who owns the dog just sets the dog loose to pointedly attack the police officer. And the dog attacks her hand. And the narrator informs us that later on, the man was sent to prison and or jail. And the dog was unfortunately put down. Yeah, it fucking sucks. These are just, like, every shockumentary, or these aren't even fucking shockumentaries. These are just gore comps or mixtapes. These are mixtapes. They're mixtapes. And they just feel bad. They make you feel bad, and it fucking sucks. Period. And tape 3, beyond having this very infamous hostage video, which appears in kind of every compilation at the time, we get the whole thing that, let's see, graphic surveillance footage, sharpshooters ending hostage standoffs, and a preacher caught at a strip bar. Which, again, the adult content is a giant part of these, and I can't talk to you about the dichotomy between gore and that right now on this platform, at least, so, give me grace on that, but it's not missed on me. Joe Francis, as I mentioned, only produced these first 3 tapes. He himself claims this was because he personally found the material too graphic and disturbing to watch repeatedly. This could also just be due to the fact that during his compiling of footage for Real TV, when he found these clips on the cutting room floor, he as well found a plethora of footage of young girls taking their tops off at Mardi Gras and spring break, leading to his multi-million-dollar creation, Girls Gone Wild. Yes, Girls Gone Wild exists via the man who created a gore comp trilogy, and frankly kind of only exists because of it in a way. And you may be super shocked to hear that Joe Francis is a giant POS with countless cases, allegations, and charges of filming minors, assaulting women, financially abusing people, kind of anything a guy like that could do, he was doing. But these 3 tapes would not be the end of Banned from Television, believe it or not. They would do one particular explicit tie into the franchise called Banned from Television Prison Files, which I believe this one to be the more, notorious one with shockumentary people that like them or collect them or things of that nature. I could be wrong, though. I'm sure the comments will tell me. These were, as you can guess, clips from prison, and my guess is it's about the same as they got all the other clips, and it was just the extra scraps from documentaries or TV specials that were too extreme to actually put in, and now we know why leave those on the floor in the editing room when you can package them up all nice, get a little narrator, and sell them on late night cable. Our narrator informs us that for the next hour, we are going to experience the vivid and horrific hell that is prison life. And, fun fact, all of these are just on YouTube, which, cut it real quick before you go searching everything up and say, Darby sent me, Darby told me. be very careful, conscious, and aware, which is what conscious means, of the media you consume, especially the media I tell you guys about. When I'm talking about this is not my Darby Valentine stamp of endorsement to go watch it. I tell you time and time again, and they have pretty fundamental proof. It is not good for the human brain to watch things like this. It isn't. It isn't. There's a parasite in my brain, and I just have to know everything, even to my own personal detriment and ruin. So here I am talking about this to you. I don't want you to go out and watch this. It's not good for you. But, just need to point out the irony sometimes about I always talk about the dichotomy of dark web and snuff rooms and red rooms and, secret scary dark web. It's all here. It's all on the clear net. You don't need to go on the dark web. If you want to watch people die for your own fun, you can do it on the clear net. It's just crazy that it's on YouTube. Sometimes it really gets me. But just like I talked about in the Faces of Death video, which subscribe and watch that video if you have not already, they spawned an entire generation of branding off of their own. People would just take something that was close enough. With Faces of Death, it became Traces of Death or Faces of Gore, things of that nature. You take a little bit of it that comes from the nomenclature that people don't really remember fully, so they're like, oh, I think I've heard about this. And Banned from Television did exactly the same. Particularly, in the exact same year of 1998, there would be Banned in America, which, similarly how Traces of Death was the real extreme version of Faces of Death, Banned in America was truly, simply at its core, a gore comp. Including extremely famous clips like when American hero Gary Plotch shot Jeff Dallset, a pedophile who had kidnapped and raped Gary's son. If you're unfamiliar in this clip, it is so crazy to watch, but Gary is standing at a payphone in the back while they're walking Jeff through with all these cameras and news crews. And Gary simply turns and shoots bullseye, killing his son's abuser. And this clip is in full in Banned in America, along with a billion other stuff like that, including, once again, this very famous hostage video, which I'm gonna put the name up here. I can't remember it off the top of my dome, but like every compilation video at this time has that video. And once again, it's here on YouTube. And since we're doing this little shockumentary tie-in discussion of Faces and Traces and Banned and Banned and Banned, funny enough, Banned in America was also distributed by Brain Damage Films, who also distributed Traces of Death. I just think that's kind of interesting how right close we are with each other. Also, there was a weird amount of people invested in the soundtrack of Banned in America, of all 5 Banned in America, as there were only 3 Banned from Television, all coming out the same year. Banned in America went on, I believe, until the year 2000, and there were 5 total films. And people are really, really oddly invested in the soundtrack. I don't know why. When researching, it is the majority, if not like almost all the stuff I find about Banned in America is purely just the soundtrack. People have the whole 5 soundtracks uploaded on here, and it is similar, as I talked about in the one of, I think, Faces of Gore, had this similar soundtrack of this weird electronic dark wave ambient unsettling, like just fucking bizarro music underlaid genuine human death, which adds a layer of unease and like horrible uncomfortableness to a person. It's very curious how many people online are really invested in the soundtracks of these gore films. And of course, this would not be the only spawn off of them, and even I think there were spawns off of this spawn. There'd be Banned Too Hot in America, Banned in Asia, Banned Uncensored in America. Frankly, once again, we take our adjective dice and we shake them up and we throw them, and that's how we start making new shockumentary compilations. Even the prison spinoff got a knockoff with Brand from Prison Files 2001, which I think the whole 2001 is also another shockumentary franchise, or 2001, 2002 is its own other branding, on top of now the branding from another one, from a spin-off, and the shockumentaries on the shockumentaries on my shockumentaries. She shock on my ment till I re. So many. And it's just so interesting to look at because, especially with my age, and I think most people, it's the modern association of gore hounds and shock sites and rotten.com, which I don't know if you guys can see my nails. I have rotten.com nails right now. But I think it is this new modern notion people have that this is a new thing. This is an internet age thing of extremities. But time and time again, I come on here and I show you that no, before the internet, there were people that found gore, enjoyed it, distributed it, created it, any of all means, and sharing it with each other. And it is a constant fixture within human nature and media. And as I mentioned a few times in this video, the whole selling point, and especially the adverts of this, is that it's too extreme. It's being withheld from you. Why do humans crave things that are withheld from us? Why do we want what we can't have so deeply? Darby's not a psychologist, but I read a lot of psychology papers, and this is kind of the general liked consensus on it. There's a term coined in the 70s about this human desire called the forbidden fruit effect. There's a few ideas of why this occurs. One is the simple fact: it's seen as a challenge, and humans love challenge just by nature. It is simply how our brains are wired. As well, the possibility that humans are just simply wired to search out the novelty, garnering some level of excitement within it. The reward centers in the brain light up more when it's the concept of something new, or in this case, something withheld. As well, the anticipation aspect of getting access of the new or unknown material makes a perfect neurochemical mix with all the dopamine spikes. There is an absolutely amazing quote about forbidden fruit that I think kind of just sums it up perfectly by Madeline Ryan. People are obsessed with what they don't allow themselves to have, and then they become controlled by it. Forbidden fruit is everyone's main meal. Also, as well, the thrill of the chase is almost always one of the biggest thing your brain is really wanting out of this and getting the dopamine off of. I mean, I've shown how guilty I am in that regard of the thrill of the chase, and sensation seeking can be just as negative as positive, arguably more times negative. While I was researching, I actually came across this article written by a college student in the year Banned from Television came out. She said she saw an advert on TV at night, and she wrote this large article about it, and I really think it's interesting to see someone seeing it at the real time and how it made them feel, so much so that they wrote it out. Quote, "The destruction of the human body is an appalling and disturbing thing to watch. But we watch violent movies, right? So what's the difference? Well, it's a movie for one thing. And usually it's a horrible thing that this is happening in a movie. Perhaps we shouldn't have it in movies anyway. People like Brandon Lee do get killed on movie sets. But movies often try to teach us something about violence, and the people who instigate violent acts. Movies are also a reflection of society. And face it, folks, all that violence in the movies actually happens in real life. But do we watch it in real life? For fun? The frosting on the cake is that someone is actually selling this video for a profit. Someone is capitalizing on human suffering and terror. Whether or not the video actually shows the woman getting run over by the train is immaterial. The commercial implies that the video does show it. Anyone purchasing this video will expect to see it. These images were banned from television for good reason. War photography is often disturbingly gory. Any photos that are published are carefully selected, and they are only published if the news media feel it's necessary for the public to see what's going on to understand the news. Would you want to watch a whole video of images as horrible as war photography? What kind of society do we live in if people consider this entertainment? Call me a wimp if you must, but I don't want to be someone who is entertained by anyone's death. That is someone's son or daughter, someone's niece or nephew, someone's grandchild. Does anyone value human life anymore?" Unquote. This was written by college student Aaron Stein, and I find it so beyond interesting to see a direct oppositional point of view at the immediate time something was released. Whereas now it's the whole hindsight 2020 thing, and once again this whole modern age of gore and consumption, and we all know, like, you should not be doing that. I just find it so interesting when I can find point of views at the exact time of something happening, especially an oppositional point of view, especially with the timing of it. This being in 1998, I think this was part of the corner turning of general mass shock gore consumption in media, because it truly was. This was the dawn of the internet, of the spreads of Ron.com and Ogrish, Steak and Cheese, all of these horrible sites, and how it became part of pop culture. It became normalized to a degree of just, oh, gross, ooh, crazy. And this was the transference from the VHS times. Now, anyone didn't have to pay $20 to get a tape in the mail to see someone die. You could just go on your computer in your house and see it. So I just always love when I can find a point of view from the direct time something happened. And I, of course, love oppositional point of views because boy, do I love conflict. But that was the little shockumentary trip we went down after a late night video store trip because, dude, I had never heard of these in my whole life, and they were packaged up, and of course I can't play them in the store, but the marketing worked on me. I immediately needed to know what was actually happening in these and anything of the like. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, Thanks so much for watching. I really got marble mouth today. Don't know what's up with that. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hype the video. If you have the hype button, make sure to slam that hype button for me. Members see videos early. If you want to be a member, the link is down below. But, question as always, are you familiar with Banned from Television? Did you see these adverts? I know we've talked a lot about Faces of Death because we got the whole video on it, but have you heard of Banned from Television? Anything that was similar, Banned in America? Let me know down below. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with shockumentaries if you're watching me on the internet. Once again, we got merch in the store. Go buy merch. It's one of the best ways to help me. Another amazing way to help me is to share my videos. So if you share my videos, it really does mean the most. Thanks everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Follow me on all social media. I'm Darby Valentine on Instagram, which you get sneak peeks to what videos I'm making on here as well. I make short form content on there that does not go on here. Completely different content. Same with TikTok. TikTok is a lot of other content, and I go live very often, so make sure you're following me there. Make sure you have all notifications turned on. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you would probably like my video about Faces of Death. With that, I'll see you next week. Bye!